Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in another game between LiquidTLO and Evil Geniuses iNcontrol, this time from Metalopolis. This is game 2 in a series between these two players. Excuse me, talking a little bit too fast. A game 2 in between these two players from MLG Dallas. Once again, thank you MLG. Wow. Getting a little bit of a fever again. MLG Dallas, once again, thank you for hosting the tournament. I know there was some technical issues, but still, casting from replays, always very, very fun. We now see TLO making, not TLO, iNcontrol making his way out, and will be scouting in the clockwise direction. And the meaning behind this is because on the MLG version of this map, you are always going to cross spawn from your opponent, either a close air spawn or a far cross spawn. That is the reason why we are scouting out in this direction. With this change, I believe this map is really in favor of, really in favor of Zerg now. But this is Protoss versus Terran as a probe now coming in, gonna deal some damage back towards this SCV. One SCV should be coming in. Now coming in, and now we'll be fighting back and forth in between these two locations here, and now pulling away with that probe. Probe did actually take some critical damage, and now as the shields recharge, the probe will just simply wait and then come back in and try to get more damage onto this one SCV. If he can actually delay or get the kill, that would be very, very powerful indeed. As iNcontrol now once again pulling away, we are getting an SCV now wandering around on the inside of this base. Now, with the close air spawns, I expect a lot of dropship play, Banshees, Void Rays, or Phoenixes. Because of the relatively close air spawn, it allows for a lot more obvious airplay, and the airplay really bodes well just because you do not have to worry about this Xel'Naga Watchtower here. Also, I believe that this Xel'Naga Watchtower will come into play just because if there is a large ground army walking into your base, most likely they will come in from this main road here. And if you get an early detection, an early warning, 20 seconds notice is more than enough in order to properly set up your defenses, get SCVs over to repair bunkers, get sentries ready in order to place down force fields, that sort of thing. Factory now being placed down by TLO as it looks as though right after that second supply depot, so that is your standard build order here, nothing out of the ordinary. Meanwhile, iNcontrol also building a pylon here, very important to be able to warp in units along this low ground, but you do not want to make the pylon so close that Marauders and Marines are able to easily shoot it down. You want them to kind of commit and getting very close to that cliff so that you in turn can try to force field around those units and then stop them. And give me one moment. Alright, yeah, the doctor and making sure that I'm still doing alright. Now, iNcontrol, back over here, we are going to get a couple Marines here, and I like the positioning on these Marines. The Marines are there to all focus fire onto the unit as soon as it makes its way up that ramp, and then it will be very difficult for it to turn around in time. And more Marines still being trained, as a Hellion also being trained, and it looks like a drop may be underway with that starport. So a very heavy, there's a lot of tech buildings and going into a starport, but with only one gas, that means the majority of the units are going to be Marines and Hellions. With that, Marines and Hellions raiding, raiding a mineral line does deal a lot of damage very, very easily and very, very quickly. So you're going to see perhaps, there's that one medevac. I wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 medevacs before that drop comes into play, but we are getting a lot of pylons now positioned across the map. Now, on Metalopolis, you have to be careful about these vents. The reason why is this pylon here cannot see this location or this location either. So even though you have observers, you have pylons all set up, just because you have these pylons and other site buildings, it may mean that you still don't have enough in order to gain the site, and this may now be an elevator drop. So the medevac now in position, we already have an observer right here, and now the unit's going to simply just elevator their way up onto that high ground here. Marines now be dropping into play, and a lot of damage being dealt. This one Hellion perhaps needs to turn around. One Hellion going to try to make its way up that ramp as well, as it's a very early aggressive push of Marines and Hellions. Sentry now coming in as well, but now because of that force field, not enough energy for a Guardian Shield, and that Sentry gonna get shot down very easily. The Medevac, however, not able to heal up the rest of those units as the Hellions now going around the far side. Very nice micro, making sure to split up the attack force here as those Hellions just getting multiple splash kills even without the blue flame research. And wow, a TLO pretty much shutting down iNcontrol's entire economy there. 17 harvesters compared to 26. A lot of workers lost and a lot of resources lost in that exchange. Production wise, you can already see a bunker now curiously being positioned right here as another drop of Hellions coming in. I do not believe the Hellions are going to be able to get that much damage. Oh, maybe perhaps one more round of attack, getting even 2 more probe kills, and now in comes some force fields once again. That probe, just trying to get as many kills as possible, is worth its weight in minerals so far as it continues to drive around on that Doom Buggy, trying to get away. It looks like the Hellion may actually be able to escape, and the Hellion able to live and fight another day. So very nice harassment technique by TLO as we are now teching into higher tech units. We are getting a second refinery, perhaps a Raven underway, as a Raven with the point defense drone would shut down many of those stalkers as well as reveal observers, but I don't see anything of that nature just quite yet. TLO now getting the command center here, as we are now going for a drop of his own. So iNcontrol returning the favor with a drop straight into these vented areas. And if he also turns this into a warp prism, warp prism mode, he will be able to just simply warp in even more additional units, and that is going to be very, very dangerous. So iNcontrol now with a very large army inside the base already. The warp prism not even in phase mode yet, and there we go, straight into the battle already. Immortal Stalkers, Sentries, no Guardian Shields, more units now being warped in. The force fields need to be coming in sometime soon. There's that Guardian Shield, both sides battling it out. So many SCVs, Immortals continuing to fight, Marines and Stalkers continuing to battle it out. Stalkers are now getting destroyed here as more units are continuing to fight more and more. TLO surviving that battle but losing many of his own SCVs as well. Now down to 13 SCVs, but he does have a second orbital command, which will help him double train SCVs and get back into this game, in addition to having more mules. Excuse me. So blow for blow, a lot of warp prism play coming in from both sides, or a lot of drop play coming in from both sides now. And I think I would have liked that play a little bit better if the force field came in here and here in order to make sure that the SCVs were not able to swarm. The SCVs would have been forced to come around this side. The Marines would have been forced to come around this side. And that's really what you want to do with ranged units. You want to abuse the fact that you're ranged. The SCVs absorbed a lot of that damage and absorbed a lot of that damage while dealing some damage as well. So get those force fields down, place some distance between the melee attackers and your army, and you will get much, much further. But normally there are no melee attackers from the Terran army. All of them are ranged units. Banshees now being added from TLO's army. We can see that the Warp Prism still hiding off in the corner over here, as a Medevac now fainting another drop of some sort. It doesn't look like there's any, there's nothing in there at all. And what are the Stalkers going to do? The Stalkers now, the probes just semi-pulling away, interrupting mining for just a moment here. And now with one Medevac keeping iNcontrol on his toes just because he doesn't know what's inside that Medevac. One Medevac, always a very, very dangerous situation, as the Warp Prism now sitting here will be able to warp in additional units in just a second. SCVs now coming over as well in order to start mining here. Medevac finally returning. Sentries and Stalkers still sitting in this location here, as a robotics bay now being warped in here in order to get Colossus kind of hidden, kind of far away tech, enabling him to get those Colossus in secret. But we are going to get more Banshees, and Banshees have a very, very fast attack rate and actually deal more damage per second against Colossus than Vikings. So At only 25 additional gas, Banshees are also a very strong counter against against Colossus, especially if you are concerned about Zealots in that combination as well. So if it's Stalker Colossus, then get Vikings, but if it's Zealot Colossi, then you can go for those additional units. But oh, Banshees now engaging out over here. There are a couple sentries and Zealots now desperately trying to run away. Those Banshees getting out a little bit too far ahead. As they need to pull back just a little bit, but now we are going to get a Raven with almost maximum energy, and now as soon as 2-point defense drones are dropped, that is going to completely change the battle. And there we go, 1-point defense drone, and EG's iNcontrol says GG, knowing that a large group of Marines now coming in. This Raven has enough energy for another point defense drone. All of the energy on this point defense drone already has been depleted, but it already absorbed a good 280 damage from those Stalkers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and game 2 in this series between LiquidTLO and iNcontrol.